From the basement of La Penta, this is WICR.
Hello, Iona College. You know what time it is. It is time for Lights Out Sports. I'm your host, Rob Boncardo. Join with me, Armand Matteo. There is no Terrence today, but Armand, let's get right into it. Opening day for baseball starting this week. And Armand, the games were great yesterday, but one thing I just want to get a quick headline on. Craig Kimbrel traded to the San Diego Padres on the night of opening day, and you know what? These Padres are just making moves.
Yeah, they certainly are, Rob. Now, I think they need a more core starting rotation, but you definitely have a powerful hitter in Matt Kemp who can definitely resurge his MVP caliber years, and you have a capable player in Justin Upton who could put up 20 and 90 home runs and RBIs, and you have a young talent like Will Myers. There is potential in this team. I just think that they're in the most competitive division in the NL, which is gonna haunt them throughout the year.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun to watch. I mean, you look at a guy like Kimbrel, 185 saves his last 4 seasons. Phenomenal. Not only that, guy pitches about 60 games a year, picks up over 90 to 100 strikeouts. And you know what? You go from Houston Street last year before he gets dealt to the Angels. You had Benoit who picked up 11 saves, and now you get Kimbrel, and I look at it as, you know what? This is the best thing since Trevor Hoffman to happen to this Padres team.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The only thing is, how many save opportunities? I don't think he's going to have as many save opportunities as he did with Atlanta. Atlanta was good all those years. They were winning the NL East. It was between them and the Phillies. So Kimbrel was dominant in that division. I just don't feel that he's going to have 40 saves this year. I don't think he's going to have that many opportunities.
I think he will. I feel the pitching staff actually looked pretty decent to me last year. And now it's more, you actually have the outfielders you need. You know, we look at this trade, who the Braves get. They're getting Cameron Maybin, Carlos Quinton. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad about them. Cameron Maybin, phenomenal center fielder. Carlos Quinton, good hitter, but not healthy. And that's been a problem for them. They don't have healthy hitters in lineup. Now you have 3 big bats in there. I mean, I definitely see this team working around this year, possibly winning the division. I think they're going to beat the Dodgers. You know, the Dodgers, phenomenal team. I like to be gutsy when it comes to it, but I think the Padres are going to be really good. You have to watch out for them all year round.
What about the Colorado Rockies putting up 10 runs yesterday, Rob? You think that was a fluke, or do you think that this team? I'm gonna be honest with you, Rob. I think this is a healthy lineup. You go through 1 through 6. You have guys like Tulo, Cargo, Corey Dickerson. You have a lot of good players in this lineup.
I think
Nolan Arenado is pretty good too.
As of right now, though, Armand, I think it's kind of a fluke. Because you know what? Yes, they put up great numbers. Tulowitzki went 3 for 5 last night. But you look at Cargo. Cargo, really from his breakout year when he batted over 300, blasted 20 home runs, had like 90 RBIs, has really dropped. And that's the thing that kills this Rockies team.
And he's never healthy either.
Yeah,
he's never healthy. And neither is Tulo, so that's why this team is always in disarray at the end of the year.
Almost definitely. Now, Armand, we look at the second part of this trade, the Atlanta Braves. You get Carlos Quinton, you get Cameron Maybin, you get a prospect, you get the 41st pick in the draft. I mean, with Atlanta, when we look at it this season, Hayward gets traded to St. Louis, Upton gets traded to San Diego, they sign in Markakis, Evan Gattis traded to Houston. Do you feel that they just gave up? Because I thought Atlanta, at this point right now, I thought Atlanta would actually be trying to compete. But I kind of looked at it this weekend as, you know what, it's a smart deal. You got Melvin Upton off the books. Because Melvin Upton's been the worst thing to happen to Atlanta. The guy has not even lived up to his contract. I mean, you have him off the books now. You're going to have money to afford other guys. And, I mean, Atlanta, though, I think they just gave it up for this season, trading away Kimbrel.
I think so, because they've had the same lineup for the last couple of years and they never got out of the division series. So it's time for change. I mean, yes, maybe they're going through a stage where they're not going to be, 90 and 70 at the end of the season. They might be 75 and 85. But, it's time for change. And clearly that lineup wasn't working. Changes need to happen, and it happens in every great organization.
Oh, it does. I mean, the rebuilding is going to hurt. That everybody has to start learning that.
You might be seeing that with our New York Yankees there, Rob.
Oh, yeah, we are. Rebuilding, everybody takes it out of whack. Like, rebuilding, it's going to be built right away. I mean, compared to the New York Knicks, where Phil Jackson has to tell fans, rebuilding hurts. It's a stage where it starts off where it hurts. In the end, give it 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Start building up your rotation, your prospects. Look at the New York Mets.
Yeah.
Look where they are at this point. And you know what that is? Farm system. You start rebuilding in the draft. You trade away Carlos Beltran. You get pitchers like Zach Wheeler. Trade away R.A. Dickey when he had his Cy Young year, and you pick up Noah Syndergaard. And look where you're at right now. You have one of the best pitching staffs in the MLB. And I mean, right now for Atlanta, yes, it's going to take a big hurt right now, but in the next 2 years, Atlanta's going to be good again. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
There's an organization, a respectable organization that knows how to get their money straight, get players on the table. We've seen what they've done in the past. They had Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones. They've had phenomenal hitters.
Yeah, and there's many teams like this. Like, look at the couple years of sacrifice the Seattle Mariners had to go through. Now they're a powerhouse. They got Cano. They got Nelson Cruz. They find a guy like Kyle Seager. They bring in Iwakuma. They develop Felix Hernandez. I mean, all these teams come from somewhere. They're not like the Yankees and Red Sox are always dominant every year. So they got to go through some it's a stepping process, you know?
Yeah, it is. I mean, Atlanta, the fans shouldn't be unhappy, though. At this point, the organization's done so much over the last couple years. And you know what? Just give them time. I trust Atlanta. That's an organization I will always have respect for at the end of the day. I mean, we look with San Diego, though. Just a great trade going down. Now, I mean, going in right now, you talk about the New York Yankees yesterday losing 6-1 to the Toronto Blue Jays. What?
3 hits, Rob. 3 hits. And one of them was by A-Rod, who hasn't batted in over a year and a half.
Well, we could just tell the rebuilding process is beginning. I mean, first off, I'm not going to blame that loss on Masahiro Tanaka.
No.
Chase Headley, that was a play that he should have made to Shera.
Oh, A-Rod would have made it, Rob.
No, I don't think so. Not at this point right now in his career, but just really bad plays going down the stretch.
Yeah.
Didi Gorgas, you never steal third base with 2 outs.
Especially when he's not even a stealer in general.
That's something in Little League my coach always used to engrave into my head. Nothing is worse than making that last out at third base. With
or the first out. Third or the first out.
Especially when you have a big bat in your hand. I mean, but this Yankee team, we're going to see just like Atlanta. The rebuilding starting. I'm sorry. We look at that roster yesterday. Those guys, they're too old. They're too old. They're not going to be hitting the baseball. Nobody is putting up 30 home runs this year for this Yankees team.
Maybe. Nah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I was going to say maybe you might have a stretch if Carlos Beltran's healthy. I do not like McCann. I think he was one of the worst deals the Yankees have made for in the last couple of years. Teixeira's just done. The guy either strikes out or he just hits a pop-up. I mean, he's horrible. He doesn't get done in the playoffs either. I mean, honestly, I think A-Rod could honestly be one of the better players. If he's the full-time DH, I'm telling you, A-Rod's been hitting the ball hard this spring. It's not like he's hitting chippies. You know what I mean? Like ground balls up the middle. He's hitting line drives.
But, I mean, you just don't have anybody else to back him up. That's the problem.
True. Very true.
He's batting 8th in the lineup. He hasn't batted there since the 90s when he played for Seattle. And I mean,
I think that's going to change, though, Robert. I think he's going to move ahead of Headley. Sometimes he might even bat ahead of Brian McCann.
Headley, I could see. McCann, I'm not too certain.
Yeah, because the Yankees are too sold on him as the future.
I mean, one guy that I'm hoping he really.
Teixeira could drop out of the lineup, like lower down. You don't think so?
Teixeira, no. They love that guy too much. They would never. But I mean, one bat I'm really hoping that's going to turn out to be great. Steven Drew. We look at last year. No spring training. He started really late. He batted about 200 or lower 100s.
Yeah, he's lower than that. But, that was respectable, Rob.
What I've heard so far is this spring he's been hitting the ball really good. And you know what? That's good because the Yankees need a second baseman. And if Steven Drew could actually fill a role right now, that's going to help this team out down the stretch, especially since they're not going to get much production out of Didi Gorgas at shortstop at hitting.
That's a really good point, Rob, because if you have your 8 and 9 guy who are going to bat below 220 the whole year, that's just dooming for trouble.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of Gorgas yesterday? I mean, I watched part of the game. The guy, natural shortstop.
No, yeah, great glove. He's just got to work on his hitting.
Yeah. Phenomenal. I mean, I look at some plays, I'm like, wow, we definitely got a nice product.
You definitely got a young Jeter in the field, just not at the bat.
I mean, this Yankees team, we'll see what goes on. We'll have Sabathia pitching this week. That might be a bloodbath. Michael Pineda might help us out as long as he's not injured. And Nathan Eovaldi.
I'm looking forward to that. The Nathan Eovaldi debut.
1.66 ERA this spring, and that guy has just been on fire. He's really transitioned well, and it's going to be great. This weekend, we play Toronto. We play them tomorrow and Thursday, and then Boston this weekend. Just a couple great series coming up.
So Sabatia's pitching tomorrow against R.A. Dickey.
Yeah.
Is it Dickey? Yeah, it is Dickey.
Yeah.
It's all right. A-Rod owns Dickey in the past. So does Beltran, so maybe...
Well, you know what I heard yesterday? They weren't going to pitch Mark Burley to Toronto. They held him out of that series. You know how Burley's a top 3 starter?
Oh, yeah.
He's 1-14 versus the Yankees. So at this point, you go, you know what? Just sit the lefty down at this point. But you got to give credit to that guy in Toronto.
But the thing is, that team, the record, he's 1-4. This is a new Yankee team. So maybe he can go 2-14 against this team because he's playing players like McCann and Ellsbury who weren't really on the team during those times when Burley played us. You know what I mean?
We beat him last year, though, with McCann and Ellsbury. I mean, this one guy, though, I'm going to really watch. Hutchinson on Toronto, 24 years old. Phenomenal arm and pitched really great.
He did.
All right, guys. We are going to go on a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk more opening day. New York Mets surprisingly pulling out a win versus the Washington Nationals. We'll be right back after this commercial.
You're listening to WIC.